Matthew Lowry.
Matt, I
like
can't do it now. I
like
did.
like Mike Lowry.
Like Mike Lowry, Matthew Lowry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Matthew Lowry.
Oh, that's me.
How you doing?
I'm very good. I'm very glad to be here with you.
Yeah, thanks for
I
taking the
wish I
time. It
had
was
the beer on your hat.
well, go get one.
I no, here's I made dinner. My wife so my wife's pregnant. We're like
Oh,
halfway through this
congratulations.
pregnancy. Thank you, thank you. It's our first. So we had
First.
an
Ooh.
appointment today that went like 3 hours, and I thought it was going to be like a 1 hour thing, and it was like, no, there's an hour with this person, and an hour with this person, and then the ultrasound, and it was just so by the time I made dinner and got everything together, I did not get to run out and procure any adult beverages for myself.
Well,
So
listen, I've got two sitting in the wings here. I will have either one or two, both for you
mm,
and your wife. That's awesome. Congratulations.
beautiful, thanks. I didn't think
That's
that's how we were going to start the show.
I know.
Hey, I'm
Well,
having a baby.
yeah. Well, so Matthew Lowry, he is a musician. Where are you from?
Florida. I live in Lakeland, Florida, right in
Florida.
the
Very
heart of the
cool.
state. So,
Well, yeah, I'm a father. I've got two children.
mm.
Uh, one's 5. He'll be 6 in December, and one is 15 months just yesterday. And we, pregnancy in general, like, is a wild thing.
Whew,
Um,
yeah.
so what? So the 3 hour thing that you had today, that was. I'm trying to think of what that entailed. There's just a
Oh,
lot of
so
like,
it was so we had to go see a high risk doctor
right.
for my
Yep.
wife because she has some health stuff.
Yep.
So we did like an hour with a geneticist
Hmm.
and answered a ton of questions and went over different stuff and like whenever blood tests we took. And then the ultrasound was the first like we had one earlier that was like quick and we saw things. This was like intensive ultrasound. Like here's every angle of your baby and here's what it is and blah blah blah. And I'm like, it's so the technology is wild.
So
So
crazy. Yeah.
so I'm just crying in there, like, there it is,
Dude,
there she
I love
is.
it. Is it a
Yeah,
girl?
it's a little girl.
Oh
So
man.
man,
First,
yeah, it's wild. And then we waited for a while and then got to actually talk to the doctor and we were with them for like 20-30 minutes. So just all in all, but show up time to leave in time, it was like
yeah.
2.5-3 hours, and it was just like, oh, I had to make dinner and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, my wife, I mean, outside of high blood pressure, she's healthy, but
Yeah.
because so she has high blood pressure, managed, with medication, but she was considered high risk for both her pregnancies. Um, had some losses in between the first and second, which was, a whole other story. But that's awesome. I'm so happy for you. I ever since becoming a father, whenever someone says they're having a baby or whether it's their first, second, third, fifth, it just like warms my heart. Um, I've become soft in my old age. I think like these kids are really, you know, softening my edges, I guess you could say. I MC weddings sometimes, and I tend to hold back tears at weddings. It's the happiest moment of their day, right? Um, and I'm so happy for them, and this is the happiest they'll ever be. Whether they get divorced to 6 months to a year, 10 years, whatever it might be,
Yeah.
in that moment, they are the happiest they'll ever be. Their parents are so happy and proud, and it's a room full of happiness, and it
Exactly, right. It's such a
it gets you.
celebration of like, we're all in this thing together right now. And it feels
Yeah,
good to have this whole thing around us. Like,
yeah, it's amazing.
yeah. And
So
now and now they're all gathering back up for and getting excited for then you get to tell all those same people. And in our case, I mean, we've been together 10 years, we've been married 6 this month. And so like 6 years later, we now get to tell all these people, hey, things are going great, and now we're having a baby. Like it
yeah,
just like special thing you get to share with everybody again. It's wild that it's happening now. Like I literally just put this album out like 2 weeks ago, and we're in the middle of the pregnancy. Like, was not planned to all unfold this way.
it's a great time of your life.
It
Well,
literally, I was like, I'm having the best year ever.
yeah, that's great. When is she due?
February, late
February.
February.
Very
So
cool. Very cool.
yeah, we're at 21 weeks, I think now is what it is. So just chugging right along,
Yeah,
man.
it gets more fun. Third trimester, buddy. Watch out.
Yeah, no, second
It's a
trimester is fun. She's just enjoying being like, first trimester was very rough on her and got sick a lot. Second trimester, she's just been like glowing and happy. I mean, she naps all the time and eats more than she's ever eaten in the 10 years I've known her, but in the best, like,
Sure.
she didn't eat much in those first few months. So it's nice that she's like got her appetite back and then some. And
Yeah.
with a very active little girl growing in there. She was
Yeah.
like kicking the whole ultrasound today. So it was pretty
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
And the third trimester, she'll be just like done being pregnant.
Yeah.
Like,
So
like, let's go. Let's get this out.
get this thing out of here.
But yeah, and a girl. First one's a girl. I got lucky. I'm blessed to have a boy and a girl, right? You know, all American family, right?
Yeah.
And so they say. I was hoping, hopefully my daughter never watches this when she's older, but I was hoping for a boy, the second one. Just because like kind of know what I'm doing, have all the clothes, have all the toys, like, you know,
you've done the dad thing on the boy already, and you're prepared to do it again, right?
I have the same parts they do. Like,
yeah,
it's
we're all in the same lane. Yeah,
I don't have to worry about other guys. Like, let's just stick with the boys. And I have a video. We didn't do like a big reveal at all. Like, but my wife, we went to the appointment. We didn't want to find out because I was like, I need to find out. I need to mentally prepare whether it's a boy or a girl. I need to get the nursery ready, all that kind of stuff. But what was I saying? So they sent us the gender results in her email, and we were gonna look at it together later on that evening. But what they had done, the way the preview came up, it revealed.
Oh, it was like right there.
Yeah. So my wife saw it before I did. So she actually went to like the dollar store and got a little like girl's outfit, and I had like a little gender reveal, just the three of us.
That's adorable though. That's great that you had to have that.
Yeah. So I opened it and I'm like, shit. And my son's like running around. He has no idea really what's happening. And I go, buddy, do you know what this means? He's like, no, what? I go, you're gonna have a sister. And he's like, I don't want to have a sister. And he starts crying.
Oh no.
All on camera.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but he is so good with her and he loves her to death. In fact, today, when I picked her up from school and brought her home, we were sitting on the couch together, and he felt that she didn't want to be near him, and he's like, she doesn't love me. And I'm like, dude, just chill. So but it's amazing. Like he was always such a good kid.
You said she's 16 months old?
15 months old.
15 months old. Yeah. So like so young, and he's already worried.
Yeah.
No.
He loves her so much. He's such a great big brother. And I love, as much as we didn't want because he's 4.5 years older than she is. We didn't want that big age gap. But it's been a great experience in that, we had 4.5 years of just giving him attention. And now he kind of understands things, and he's pretty self-sufficient. So I don't have two children crying for no reason. It's I can focus on one, and he can take care of himself, and it's and help out a lot. And he's just a great kid, and I'm very blessed.
Man, that's awesome. I'm so happy for you. And yeah, the daughter thing. I'm like the oldest son of the oldest son of the oldest son. So, and I'm like Matthew Lowry Hagelberger my dad's Milton Lowry Hagelberger the third. So like it's a line of like these men that are like, so I was like, we're having a boy. Like there was just this assurance in me that we're having a boy. But I also, this little part in the back of my head's like, I just feel like it's gonna be a girl though. I just know it. Like I had the like false ego of like, if I will it into existence, that's what it will be, right? And then little thing that knew. I feel like my wife had this like inkling as well. So we found out, and we just had a little video filming us like reading the email, and we haven't shared that with anybody or anything, but like we're standing there and like we're trying to figure it out, and there's like other genetic tests, and then we look and we finally see it, and I'm like, I just kind of freeze for a moment, and I was like, oh man, I'm crying. Like just like it was like a processing. You could see my face process, and then I just kind of start crying about it, and I'm like, well, this is the most emotion I'm going to continue to feel for a long time.
Forever, dude. It's and little girls, they're just different. They're just different.
Yeah, my brother and I were 2 years apart, but then I have my dad then with his second wife. I have a brother and a sister as well, but they're much younger than me. Like I'm 37 now, and my little sister's 18. So
Okay,
like,
wow.
yeah, so there is a bit of a gap there. So I did have a little sister, but in a very different way and like a
Sure.
different home. I went to college and had my own place. You know what I mean? So it's a
Yeah.
different thing. So, but like having a little girl that's my own, it's gonna feel different because I really grew up with like my brother Caleb, and it was two boys, and we were 2 years apart, and that's just what we did, and
Yeah.
sports and music, and that's what we did. And so it's like now I'm like, oh man, girl dad, like what is life gonna be like? I have no idea. I'm not ready, but we'll just dive
You'll,
in.
you'll never be ready. It's going to be amazing. I hope we can stay connected even after this. Because like I said, it warms my heart, and I'm very happy for you guys.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. It was all on purpose too, which always makes it like way better. It's
Right?
like
Right?
we're 10 years into this thing
Yep.
and we wanted to do this and we finally had like a house that was like, space for a child. It was like,
Yep.
okay, it feels really good to have like been very intentional about it too. I feel like somehow that makes me feel more prepared. It's like, okay, we really wanted this.
Yeah. Well, for us too, it's like, do you want to try? And okay, yes, let's try. And we tried, and it was like it happened. No,
Yeah,
like it
exactly.
wasn't 8 months of waiting. It wasn't like a struggle.
Uh,
And then even after him, it's like, let's have a second one. Okay. It's like I looked at her and pregnant. I'm like, okay. We had three losses in between. And each time though was like no, like it was no difficult to get pregnant. It was just maintaining it. And then before we had our daughter, then we began to struggle. And I don't know, why we
yeah.
began to have infertility issues, but our daughter is actually an IVF baby.
Yeah.
And that worked first time, thankfully,
That's
because
great.
that's fucking expensive.
Yeah, right.
But
Oh,
yeah, so everything, and then we had two. I went and I had a procedure done to,
yeah.
make sure we had no more, and life is good.
Oh, yes, I hear you.
So I wish you the same.
Uh, I'm excited. I will say that I'm still definitely like getting the most out of these last 3 or 4 months that I can. It's like just the
You
awareness,
have
like
to.
I know it's all different, bro. It's like, hey, I'm going over to Casey's house and I'll be
Yep.
home late because I
Watch
can.
watch football, dude. Drink beer. Like,
Uh,
don't everyone's like sleep now, like, sleep now. It's like, no, you can't bank sleep. So like
now.
just prepare, like don't sleep. Prepare your body to never sleep.
I think it'll be I mean my wife already goes to bed pretty early generally is what for her job, like she's up early getting ready. So like 5:45 her alarm goes off, but she's like I want to crawl in bed at 8:30 and get 9 hours of sleep. Like that's her game plan. It's like I'll sleep the extra, especially now that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
She's like I'm crashing and I'm sleeping
Out.
as long as I
Yeah.
can. And I so if I like, try to be on her sleep schedule as much. I mean, we're gonna wake up, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm just yeah, I'm not worried about sleep now as much. I do find myself having these late nights going like enjoy it while you can. Enjoy
Yeah.
it while you
Yeah.
can.
If you want one more beer, have it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I did that. It's my buddy's birthday the other night. I said, come over, I'll make you dinner. We got a couple bottles of wine. We had some vodka, we had some martinis, and he had left. And I was like, well, I think I'm going to finish this second bottle of wine without him. Watch a little TV. And
Love it.
then, yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's just solo adulting.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the other exciting thing you've got going on. You just released your debut album,
Indeed. Indeed. Flamingo County.
Flamingo County. Let's talk about that. I mean, I did a little research. I try not to do too much because I want it to be very like just very organic discussion, organic questions and stuff like that. So I didn't do too much, but like and my thought was you're just a down to earth, cool, chill dude that likes to have a good time. And I think I've you've confirmed that already in the last 20 minutes that we've been talking about being a dads. But yeah, I mean the music's fun. You've got a music video out as well, called Coming for You.
Yeah, we have Coming for You, and then we also have All My Friends Are Selling Out too. Got a
Oh, I
couple.
didn't see that one, but
Oh, bro, you missed it. That's a good one. You have to get into that.
I will definitely will. Well, I I'm big into videos now because I was just I made my music video debut for the band. The band's called Don't Panic.
Mhm.
Just last month, maybe a month and a half once this episode kind of airs. And what a process. And the video for Coming for You was is very in the vein of what we did for Don't Panic. It was just, a lot of friends and it was a big party and it's very DIY, but it was very well done. So before we get into all that, like talk about the new album, debut record, Flamingo County. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I basically started writing some songs solo. I'd played in multiple bands throughout the years through college. After college, got really serious and started touring with the band Terra 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 that I was in for a couple albums, and about 5 years. And just that's when I really like made all my connections and grew as like a musician in this kind of world that we live in the scene at that time, and just loving music. I'd always loved music. I started piano at 5, so it was like a lifelong thing for me. All sorts of classical and jazz and rock, but main thing I've always been writing. Like always loved to write. But in most of these bigger bands I was in, I wasn't the primary songwriter. I was always writing my own kind of stuff on the side because that's what you do. But I was just more focused on just being the best part of this group that I could be, and it just worked that way. And so kind of hit a point after being out of the final band that I was in for a few years where I was like really just like, I got to do it. I got to write some stuff. And so I went to the studio in town that I was with in my band, the Vanguard Room, and I did some EPs, just a couple songs each, and put those out. It was like right before COVID. It was like late 2019. I put like an EP out in September and then like another one in like December or January. And it was cool. It was fun. They were like solo things. And the guys in the studio who were people I knew and were friends, we made these songs, but they just weren't anything cohesive. Like, as far as like, didn't feel like I had a vision. It felt like I had written these songs and I did have this vision, what I felt like was a vision, like, oh, these ones are kind of 3 different versions of this and this. And it wasn't, but the music was just kind of all over the place. And it was fun and it was cool. And I spent a lot of time in the studio, but we were like meticulous on it. And like, we could only do it in like blocks of like 4 or 5 hours this night this week and 4 hours this night this week. And it was a long process. And this album, I was like, I had just been writing songs after those EPs during COVID and where everything. And I just wanted to play rock. And I was like, I want to play rock like with my friends. Like, I don't want to be that's what I'm used to doing. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm used to doing this thing. And so I had just been writing these songs and I talked to some of the guys and I was like, I think I want to go in and record them. I was like, but I want to do it like the traditional way that I used to do it, which is like, all right, we're going to get studio time for this month and we're going to go in and we're going to crank this thing out. And so I kind of had whittled down, a big list of demos and kind of slowly went through them all and like finished writing what I needed to finish, be it lyrics or this bridge didn't feel right or something like that, and kind of whittled it all into this focused like rock project. I wrote a lot on piano. I wrote a lot of guitar stuff, just kind of started on acoustic even, and then transferred over to the electric and just kind of took these ideas and brought it into this rock world that like I kind of wanted to have fun in and kind of still kind of have songs that are a little different. If you listen to the album, you can hear there's definitely a little bit of a journey you go on. But I think it's all pretty cohesive to this songwriting side, and telling some stories and just having fun playing some rock and roll with all my actual best friends.
That's,
So
I mean, you're living the dream, man. Living the dream. Writing music with your best friends and yeah, that's great. You said there's kind of stories in the songs. Are they fictional? Or are they about real life instances? Or
no, yeah. So this is Flamingo County is kind of this state of mind, idealized place that is something I had kind of came up with as this kind of Florida hybrid because I grew up in like Gulf Coast, like Bradenton, Sarasota, and we moved a lot as a kid, but that always felt like home. But then like my grandparents lived like a little further in the state, And so they had like a 20-acre ranch that was out in just like rural Florida. And then living in Polk County for the last I've been here since 2005. So, 18 years or whatever. It's
Yeah.
very central Florida. And I love it. And so there's this combination of this, like, what people think of as this classic Flamingo Gulf Coast Florida thing. But there's this whole other part of the state that's like not that. And Lakeland kind of has this beautiful feeling of both this classic Florida town, but also this Polk County kind of rural outskirts of Lakeland and other areas that are kind of fun, a little dirty and gritty, and we do that too. So I feel like the music kind of has this southern, even coming for you, just like we call it, like kind of like a swamp rock kind of feel to it. And just kind of love that, dig into kind of those southern influences here and there as well, with just more of a straightforward like rock, and then also just some classic rock Queen type moments and stuff like that, man. It's kind of having fun. Like I said, just taking things I love and trying to bring them to light now in a way that's like fun and current, I guess, for me. So
Yeah, I mean, well, Flamingo County sounds like a place that I want to live. I mean,
I like it.
yeah,
I think I try to say idealized. Let me continue the Flamingo County explanation. So these songs are kind of this journey of songs that I had been writing just personally, like very personal. This is a very authentic and true to me album. There's no real fiction here. It's just me kind of these moments on this journey of like growing into who I am as a person, out of, I guess, the boxes that we get put in our childhood and growing up, not in a way. I mean, it all depends on how your life is and what you do. But like for me, growing up in like a very evangelical Christian culture for part of my youth, or like my dad was a pastor in like the Assemblies of God, all the way even through different kind of churches, growing up. So there's that side of things. There's growing up in the South and like your cultural Southern roots and like how that influences you, or there's growing up listening to this kind of music, or there's growing up believing this kind of whatever about the world and your life and who you are. It's like, I have to be this, I needed to go to college, I needed to do that. And then like finding peace with yourself and like figuring out what you really want. So kind of, I guess, that typical late 20s journey, where you're willing to do some things and ask some real questions about yourself, but in hopes of finding this peace of mind, right, in this place where you're okay. And so I sing about that in Flamingo County, like finding that peace of mind. And it really comes from an authentic place of kind of finding some comfort in, like, I kind of landed for a moment on who I was and like who I am and what I actually love and believe, just for myself. And even if it's for a moment, even if it's for a day or a month, like I and I think it's more than that. And I think you're in a constant state of growth.
sure.
But like in that season, I feel like I had this journey that we hear me kind of start with this declaration of, all right, what I really need to do is write songs and smoke weed. And like, I grew up getting all the things right and fucking, I got all the blue ribbons, you know what I mean? I got good grades. I went to college and all that. And then like, but I went to play music and I fucking decided to pursue these things instead of like heading down the career path and what that looks like. And like having to find this personal journey, and every song kind of tells a little bit of a part of that figuring shit out until you get to the end. And kind of realize what I need to realize. You gotta sit back and ride the waves, and you gotta feel it, and you gotta just be present in the moment and like breathe, and like it's okay, be yourself, like find your place and live there, like it's okay. And then get up and work hard every day and like be grateful, and give some love. So
yeah, some people never find that though. It's it's crazy.
I feel like each season of life you have to find it in a new way.
Yeah.
I think now my next season is going to be like every moment I can spend with my daughter will be the best thing in the world, and that's what I'll, right? So but in this other season it was just like, oh, I feel okay with who I am, and I'm not afraid to talk to my family or this person or whatever about something that I feel or believe or am, and or just how I want to live my life as a fucking adult. Like, I think because everything's put online and shared in a way, well, I feel like it's reducing again. But for a long time, it's just like, if you're doing something, you're sharing it, you're posting it, you're talking about yourself. And it's like, I didn't feel like I could comfortably just share and talk about and do all the things that were me as I was going on these journeys. I got married very quick and very young early, and that ended after like 4 months kind of thing. And it was and that was my mid-20s. And so then I started trying some psychedelics, you know what I'm saying? And just kind of like I was like, well, we're gonna start from square one. I don't fucking care about anything. Like, I gotta figure out what I'm doing. Like, who am I? What am I even? Why did I even marry this person I knew I shouldn't have married? You
Little
know, that
reset.
kind
Yeah, little
of
reset. Hit the reset button.
thing.
It's okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, sometimes people never figure that out. And I mean, I don't know, man. Like even for me, I I still like as far as a career goes, like
yeah,
I feel like I'm in a place I never thought I would be in. Um, I was always in media from,
yeah.
day one of my professional career, and now I'm in the screen printing world. Um, but I definitely found like a place as a father,
Mm,
which I find comfort in that.
yeah.
Um, and my job allows me that one I have now allows me to be present in every way, and I never missed an appointment. I coach my son's not soccer team, baseball team and basketball team. I've never missed a practice. I've never missed a game, and um, so it's funny how everything kind of
Mm,
it does kind of
yeah.
fall in place.
It's it, and I think, and you hear it, it's cliche, right? But it's like never in the way you think it's gonna.
No,
Right. Like, I'm same thing with me, like career wise. Like, I always worked jobs that would allow me the freedom to play music, right?
yeah,
Like, that was just like the structure of why I did things, be it music, or I worked for a moving company for years, right? That was like I was able to take days off if I absolutely needed to. Most of the time you got the weekends, and that kind of thing. So then then restaurant work, of course. And then I caddied for 6 years at like a golf resort down here in Florida, because big golfing family that I was raised in. So, I was out there, and like, again, that allowed me the time and freedom if I was like, hey, I gotta take these days to play or do whatever, which is how I did the album. It was summertime, which is slow season in Florida. Like, everybody's playing everywhere else that's beautiful, and it's hot as shit down here,
hmm,
especially in the middle of the state. So I was like, all right, great. So I was in the studio Monday through Thursday, and then I'd caddy on the weekends when there were actually guests out there. And like, over the course of a month and a half, month, I did the album, and still, even on the evenings, sometimes on the weekends if it was free, but like, that's how I chunked it out. And so now I work in logistics. I work online. I work mainly, I work remote. There's an office that's, here in Lakeland as well. And I'll go in there 1 or 2 days a week. But I'm excited to have this job, and I never thought that was what I want to be, but it's like, well, I can work remote. So like, when my wife has this baby, I can work from home and be here and support and be helpful. And like, that's exciting. We've played out of town where it's like, oh, okay, I've played a show and then I worked, remotely. And like, you find ways to continue to do the things you love and then find peace, right? Like, you find your peace that it's like, well, I'm here, I can do this thing. You're screen printing, but you've never missed a practice. That's the shit. Like, I want to be
yeah,
that dad.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely um, it's good. It's all good. I'm not upset by it at all.
Mhm.
Just wasn't where I thought it would be. I mean, if I had my way, I would still be the Weekender would still exist. That
Yeah,
was like the Entertainment Weekly where it featured all the bars, restaurants, the bands playing where they were playing at. It was the Bible. But then the internet, I mean, internet was always around, but like social media came, and that's where people like, well, I can advertise my things on Facebook for free. And it's like, okay,
yeah,
cool. Well, fuck me then.
yeah. No. And you're in radio. So one of my best friends who I went to college with was in radio. He did 10 years. He was and kind of at a independent, like, I forget how many, 14 different stations they had or whatever kind of thing. Like, a good communications company, but like, yeah, after 10 years, it was just like radio just continuing to go down, which is like tough. And he was either gonna have to work in like a genre he hated or doing something he didn't want, with no actual like DJing. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
just you're just a talk box for whoever is paying the most. So it's just like he had to get out, but I mean, went to college for broadcasting, spent all his time doing that, and it's just like, well, nah, it's not gonna work. Like, at
Yeah.
the end, he was just like, oof, it was done. But just one of those things where he didn't expect to be in real estate, but now he has tons of free time and can work from home. He has 2 daughters at home, you know what I mean? And it's just like, it's good for his family. I think it's great that we all are able to, we're in a different time where like you can prioritize your family, like
Yeah.
working as an adult in a
Yeah,
way
it's
that's
crazy. It's crazy to
expected.
think about, like, back in the day, you know, oftentimes a woman still stayed at home and took care of the kids, and the man went out and
Yeah.
worked and all that. And it's kind of crazy how and the fathers were never like really involved that much. Like they
Yeah.
never changed a diaper, or never did whatever. And it's like what I would give to pass off a dirty diaper right now.
No, it's very different. I think I don't know, it's wild. I think of like a Mad Men era, right? Where it's
Right.
like you get on the train, you leave the house at 7:30, and then you catch the train in, and then you're freaking there all day, and then you go out for dinner and drinks, and like, you're home at 7 off the yeah, it's just like that's wild. Hey kids, good to see you for half an hour. Now you're off to bed. And
Yeah.
mom's taking care of that too. It's just like that seems wild, but it's very
Wild.
real life, right? It's very real
Yeah.
life. For a certain era, I think there were obviously always great dads that were wanted to be at home and be with their
Of
kids.
course. Yeah. And they
And
were, I mean, and there's dads who were, that worked those 12 hours and came home and
still did what they
were,
could.
yeah. And it was a different time. And but what I'm saying is I'm happy that it's like it is now. So
Oh, for sure. That's just like it's fantastic that we have the opportunities that you already have. I'm getting ready to have. It's
yeah.
just like
And for jobs too. I mean, enables you to create music and write the album and continue doing what you love to do. It said it's sonically inspired by Jimmy Eat World, Foo Fighters, which I definitely heard, Andrew McMahon and Weezer.
this is definitely like yeah, that's a big chunk of those kind of influences. Again, there's this, and then I would also really heavily lean into like your Queen or your singer songwriter like a Billy Joel, Elton John, because I think there's this balance of like the rock and roll that I loved, which is that Jimmy Eat World, Foo Fighters, Weezer, like just rock that I loved. It made sense, but still like I think you know obviously lyrically I really admire a Jimmy Eat World or a Weezer a lot. Nothing against Dave Grohl's lyrics, but you know what I mean. I'm not listening to Foo to be emotionally stirred. Very well. The later albums, oof, that last one, that'll get you. That'll
Yeah.
get you right in the.
Oh yeah.
But I think I want to tell stories. I like telling stories. I like being that songwriter. But I've always been a band guy, so it's like I kind of was excited to try to merge those worlds, and I think that's where sometimes you have that kind of Queen feeling of like, oh, it's a guy behind a piano, but there's this full ass rock band hitting these beautiful things behind him. I don't know. And I think we really leaned into those influences in a way where it's like, it's a serious tip of the hat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't think like it was anything. It's all in fun. Like it's not ever taking itself too seriously,
Right.
which I think is fun.
Can I
So
tell you who I heard a lot of in
yeah.
the song "Coming for You"?
Mm.
I hope this isn't like an insult. I mean, I love this band. So, Theory of a Dead Man.
Huh. That's interesting. Boy, Theory of a Dead Man. It's been a while since
There's a specific song. I can't remember what the song is called. If I think of it, if I can find it, I'll send it to you.
yeah, shoot it my way.
But
That'd be fun.
yeah, I heard the song. I'm like, this sounds like a little bit like this. So yeah, Theory of a Dead Man. I love that band. Well, I should say I love their first like two or three albums.
The early version of that band was everything you wanted, right? There you
Yeah,
go.
it was.
I've never really listened to them. I mean, I know some singles, and I know exactly who you're talking about. I'm trying to think. It's like I can't tell you if I've ever sat down and put an album on, and I'm an album guy. So
Yeah.
now I'm looking at. Sorry, I'm pulling the phone out to like double check what
Double
single.
check what?
Trying to think of singles.
Of
Theory
Theory
of
of
a
a Dead
Dead.
Man?
Yeah.
I don't even know if it was like like a main single that
No, but
I
I'm trying to think of what like Theory of a
oh
Dead.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I would like. I hear it and be like, oh yeah, 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 that's
Yeah,
them.
you would know it to hear it, but while you're looking for that, I mean, do you think you are better as a solo musician, or do you think you're better as a band guy?
I think so. What I'm finding and what I'm loving about what we've done is that like, so I wrote all these songs, but always with the intention of like, hey, I want to record these with you guys. Like when I realized I wanted to do that, it was like, well, Micah, who's played drums with me in the last two bands I was in before this, is like one of my best friends in the world. And it was like, well, Micah's doing drums on everything. And we did all the pre-production and demos with Micah. And then like Josh played guitar in those same two bands with Micah and me. So like we have all been playing music together, me and those two guys, 10 years, 12 years. So 12 years, 12, 13 years. Yeah, it's been a while. It's just long enough that we have a real cohesiveness and I trust them and we feel very good together on stage. And so Josh came in and played lead guitar on like 4 songs and that like fit his style, that were that very Foo Fighters, Jimmy Eat World rock songs in the album. And Tired, the last song, he did that really cool country solo. And then the bass player is my best man at my wedding, Rick, who's a great guitarist, played guitar on Deconstruction and on All My Friends Are Selling Out. And so just like assembling this team of like my friends. And then now that we've been playing out, for a couple years and we are as cohesive as we are, it's like, I call them the Flamingo County Players, like live. I came up with that. I called them that in the studio. I called them that live. And so like going forward, we are a band. Like consider us Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, or like, you know what I mean? Or they are the Silver Bullet Band to my Bob Seger,
Okay.
the E Street to my Bruce Springsteen, if you will. I'm not trying to put myself on those guys' levels, but what I'm saying is
I
that like
understand.
you're not going to see Bruce Springsteen and not seeing the E Street Band, like generally, unless you go to Broadway or something, right? So that's what it is. Like we are a team now. So I'm excited to take my song ideas forward. And now instead of like you're playing for these 4, you're playing for these 4, like, here's the demos, but we're all gonna get in the same room and like make this happen as a band. So I'm going to take the leadership role still, and be that. It'd still be Matthew Lowry and the Flamingo County Players, but we are definitely like, because I am a band guy and it's so nice to have like a team with you. But as a creative artist, it's even more comforting to have a team of people who believe in your vision. But having that band allows it to, I'm not going to be like selfish or greedy with like, no, these are my songs and they're going to go my way. It's like, no, let's work on it. Let's talk about it. Let's make it fun. We're all very into, well, almost all of us are very into like prog and like, and different levels. Like I like to go back to like old school, like Genesis prog. Genesis is one of my favorite bands.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, oh yeah. But like my dad loved Genesis, and so I love Genesis. And so there's just some smart pop music that is still rock and roll and has these elements. And I'm like, I want to like get my chance to like be the Phil Collins, who's he's up there. He's in those top like 5. Like you want to have dinner with or like play around a golf with people, like Phil is on that list for me.
Dude, I remember when I first heard I Can't Dance. I don't even know how old I was. But that
Dude,
was like
that music video, that
oh
freaking
my
music
God.
video.
But the song, I just remember like, and I've always been a music guy, but I can't perform. I can't like that's just not in my brain. That's why I love doing this because I get to like have an attachment to it. But like, I just remember like I would make my friends like if I was over their house, like we gotta listen to the radio in hopes that the song came on. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh, it was such a good song. And I remember like I must have been like maybe 10 when like my aunt and uncle got me a VHS tape of Phil Collins. Like I'm like, what? I think they thought maybe I was weird, like being that young and like wanting like this Phil Collins.
We are friends, bro. Like we are like I used to have my Phil Collins tee. I went and saw him live when he came a couple years ago. I didn't get to see Genesis. They didn't come to Florida. They came to North Carolina, and I was like, I wanted a road trip. And like literally one of my greatest life regrets is that my buddy and I didn't road trip to see Genesis like on that last world tour they did. God, it's so great. Like you go back and like I'm fairly certain Invisible Touch album came out like the month I was born. Like it's one of those things where I feel like that album and I share a real connection. And that's not even like the best Genesis record, but it's like it's in my heart as like this thing I know every freaking moment of that album. God, I love that
Yeah,
album.
even the We Can't Dance album. I'm going through the song list now. I'm like, I mean,
But
obviously,
Jesus, He Knows Me, right?
yeah.
Oh, what a freaking song, bro!
But
What a freaking song!
I mean, I Can't Dance, obviously the highlight. But like,
Oh,
yeah,
it's such
Jesus,
a
He
great
Knows
track.
Me. Um, I mean, tell me why. And I'm trying to like dig deep in my brain now, trying to remember how these songs even go because it's been a minute since I've listened to these
No
songs.
Son of
But
Mine is a hell of a starter. Yeah, I mean it's a great album.
yeah,
I love it. There's a lot of very like so I'm on Reddit and like the Genesis subreddit, and there's definitely a lot of like very elite like late Genesis is bullshit. Like none of that. Like I mean, and not even like Peter Gabriel elitists that are like that's I'm like because that's not the best. There's great stuff there, and I love Peter Gabriel did, but like man, I think every era of Genesis just has this beautiful. They all have their beautiful moments. There's all wonderful things. Oh, what a fun ride that band's discography is. I love them
yeah.
so much. So all that to say, I'm better in a band, bro. Like I'm trying to be the Phil Collins in my own band.
All
I'm
right,
just,
I love it.
but
I
I'm a
love it.
keyboard player, so I'm the Tony Banks role as in songwriting. So, but I mean, I play the rhythm guitar as well. So like sometimes I'm writing on guitar and it's that Dave Grohl driving rock, and sometimes I'm writing on piano and it's Billy Joelish or Andrew McMahon. It's something corporate, you know. And so it's just like I don't. It's tough. I'm trying to learn to stay in a lane, kind of, or make my own lane in a way that's like, all right, I've already kind of paid an homage and nodded to these styles. Like, how can I focus in for like the future? So we're like honing in to do something, hopefully start recording next summer, like get an EP and like crank that out together. Cause now that we're a band, like, and now that we're in a band mentality and we're like all focused, it's very nice to, have had this album be received well enough that like we're getting a lot more offers to play a lot more shows and like okay, oh this is what this guy is and this is what these guys do, and I think the band side of that will help as well, as people realize it's not just like me up there like with my piano or something. It's like no, we're like a wall of sound. That's what we keep hearing like live. It's like this very big. There's 6 of us up there. You know what I mean? Like it's bringing the noise, and so it's fun. It's fun. It's definitely, I'm a band guy, but I
That's
just happen
cool.
to be the front man.
Well, that was my question too. I'm like, are you trying to sneak in a bunch of shows in the next 3 months?
Man, well, that's, you know, what's wild is that, like, you know, we had booked out some stuff. Had a band we were going to do some stuff with that unfortunately had to pull out, which is tough. But we still got some good run of shows in. And then our one guitarist, he's actually out on the road with this artist. He's another artist who's played with for like 10 years. And so they're out for like a month. So it's like, all right, well, we can't book anything for, you know, pretty much all of October after the first, you know, 2 weekends, or November. And then it's like Thanksgiving and stuff. So I don't know. We're working on some stuff. We have some January shows booked. And then obviously like February, I don't believe unless it's like the best offer in the world, I don't see me doing much
Right.
for February. We're just gonna be like in that last month getting everything prepped. And then yeah,
Yeah.
definitely taking a few months with my wife and child, and everyone else can just go away. I think I'll write a lot then though too. I feel like I will have a lot of like turn my keyboard on real low or like
Yeah.
add the acoustic and just like have that time where it's just like, okay, what a beautiful season of life. Like allow me to try to capture some of the emotions or things that I'm feeling in this time. So
Yeah.
um so that'll be good.
Yeah. And babies, well, they're supposed to. They should sleep a lot. So I mean, you'll still be able to like, yeah, baby goes down for a nap, work on some tunes.
Yeah. Cook a lot of food, try to support the missus
Are
as
you a
best.
are you a cooker? You like to cook? That's
Oh,
the
very much so.
yeah.
Yes. Yes. I am the cook in the house. Although I will give my wife credit. Like, I mean, when I met her, she microwaved like pasta sauce out of the jar. You know what I mean? It was like it was on that base level of like, this is where our cooking skills are. Now she's like, she finds a meal she wants to cook and she looks at the video and she gets the
Yeah.
ingredients and she takes the time and like
Sunday
makes
sauce.
stuff. So yeah, but I mean, it's not like she does it every night, but like I give her credit. She has become a good cook. But I am the like 4 or 5 nights a week I'm making dinner kind of guy. So
What are you making?
I like it. I control it. Let's see. What did I make tonight? Oh, I cheated tonight. Like Publix has these mussels in sauce that are frozen, like you know, they have and you so I saute those in different pans and then I did linguine, but then I put the pasta in with the sauce and the mussels and kind of seasoned it and cooked it a little together. So it was like a little pasta seafood dish. But like I did pasta the other night too. I was like just cutting up chick. I like, sauteed some garlic and some other, what else did I put in there? Some peppers, and then cook some chicken in that. Then I kind of pour off that base, and then I put some sauce in and let the chicken cook in that sauce that could all soak in. And then did some like rigatoni, and then I kind of put some of the juice back in there and let it kind of cook up, thickened up a little bit, and yeah, just kind of had a little pasta action going on there. I like Brussels sprouts, and
Okay.
there's always some good greens. So like I did some balsamic vinegar Brussels sprouts today with some of the leftovers. It's just good stuff.
Yeah. We
Simple.
used to, before we had children, we used to do Blue Apron because
Ah,
I mean, I'm
that's
not
it's
from
nice.
scratch. I'm not doing it. Like
Yeah.
I'm just not. I need to be directed. I need to be given the
Yeah.
ingredients. But my wife still always did more of the cooking than I ever did. But I mean, I could follow directions. In
They
fact,
make
I
it pretty
probably
simple in that way though, right? Like they're pretty
yeah.
straightforward.
It was always good. It was always good food, and it was always a good amount for both of us. But I mean, you'll find out. You know, uh, especially when they're first born, you'll be doing a lot of takeout. Maybe you'll be smart enough to do some like prepping while they're sleeping and things like that.
Yeah.
But then they start playing sports, and it's like, okay, well, what are we doing for dinner tonight? Domino's.
You
My
just
wife had
survived.
a funeral to attend tonight, unfortunately, and my children got frozen ravioli and sauce from a jar. It's quick.
Hey,
It was easy. I mean, the kid had homework
happens.
to do. Like, we had to.
Happens, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You'll find out. You'll find out.
Oh, listen, Rouse does some frozen lasagnas that I will put in the
Yeah,
freezer.
I mean,
Uh,
that's probably my favorite sauce out of a jar.
we do Rouse and Del Grosso's a lot, so I gotta give Publix credit. They do keep us stocked in some bougie pasta situations.
Yeah,
So
it's not cheap.
no, but it's so worth it. Like in my head, I'm like, for the $3 extra or $4 extra that I'm paying for this jar of sauce, I will be so much happier while I'm eating it. It's like I will sacrifice that
Yeah.
from some other part of my life to have good sauce. But that's the one thing that I like. I always had a stronghold in. I think my mother-in-law like didn't understand it. She was like, well, because she like maybe bring something over or whatever. It's like, oh, Matthew doesn't eat ragu, and it's like, what? And it's like, listen, I don't like it. No, I'm not going to eat it, and it's no offense to you, but I just prefer to not. I don't mind Publix brand. Again, it's not too bad, but like, yeah, honestly, like I love the Rouse. I love the Del Grossos. Those are my two that I go
Good.
to.
You a big pizza guy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We have some good spots too. We have some good spots. So it depends on what, and it's different in the mood. Do you want like brick oven pizza? Do you want like a classic like New York style Italian pie? What do you want?
Well,
What's
I was
what's
thinking more. Are you making it yourself, pizza guy?
Oh, every now and then, we'll get the dough. I don't make the dough, but they sell like pre-made pizza dough.
The
But
shells,
what
yeah.
I like to do, one of my wife's favorite things that I do, so I'll do like a Alfredo seafood pizza, and so I'll saute scallops and spinach and shrimp, and kind of do this whole thing over here, and then I'll have like an Alfredo sauce base that I put in there, and I make like a garlic butter, and then I'll pour that around kind of the crust area, but I'll just do like an Alfredo base and then put the seafood and then the spinach and mozzarella on top of that, and crushed red peppers, or sometimes some actual like red pepper in there that I'll saute too. Yeah, and then just put a little like sriracha on that, and it's like game changer seafood pizza.
Well, NEPA is like the self-proclaimed pizza capital of the world. It may be Old Forge specifically, but NEPA pizza is pretty phenomenal.
Huh. I need to do that next time so yeah, Pennsylvania. I went to high school in Pennsylvania. My mom still lives in
Where
Pennsylvania.
where in Pennsylvania?
Okay, so over in Bedford County, south of Altoona.
Okay, so not that far.
Yeah, no, not at all. That's why I was like, when you said it earlier, you're like, oh, The Office. It's like, no, no, no. I live. I'm gonna watch The Office. I know.
I haven't either. I haven't
Sacrilege.
either.
I've seen plenty of episodes, right? I've even tried the season one run through like twice, and it just never stuck enough for me to be like, I'm committed to watching this show. And I know I'm missing out on like hilarity, I'm sure,
Same.
but
When it came out, I was 22, I want to say
yeah,
ish, and my head was not ready for that type of comedy. I think it's ready now. I watched episodes in full, but never a season in full.
Mhm.
And I've enjoyed it. I don't know. They're talking about a reboot for that, and I don't know how that's even possible because the stuff that they did, in 05-ish or whatever, you
Yeah,
can't do that now. You
that's.
can't do it.
I mean, I think there's always, man, comedy is so tough because like I think there's always going to be a way for people to be funny no matter what the circumstances are, right? I think, but I also think that part of being funny is that you're always on a line anyway. Like I think you're always kind of dancing in that area where it's like it has to be that way to be authentically like from the gut funny on some kind of level. But I don't know. I'm not a comedian. I don't proclaim to be a comedian. I love comedy and respect like I feel like so many musicians love comedy and so many comedians love music. And I
Yeah,
feel like
for
I'm
sure.
in that world where it's like I love and I'm obsessed with comedy. But like
But think about the last good comedy that you've seen.
but define like what movie or TV show or what?
Like movie, like good comedic movie, like laugh, like kind of pushes the boundaries, like it's probably over the line, but like, it's just jokes, it's just comedy, like it's not
Yeah.
like think about that.
Hmm.
Last good comedy movie you've seen.
Man, I feel like I have seen some great comedies in the last few years. But I'm trying to, man, I used to be so good with movies and I've watched so fewer. I'm more interested in watching older movies I haven't seen than like more recent movies is my problem. Man, now you got me thinking. It's like, what's
So I'll name some.
well, man, there are some though. I know I've laughed my ass off at some stuff in the last few years, but it's like now I gotta think about
But like 40-year-old virgin, super bad. The
it. The Judd Apatow
hangovers,
years.
the hangovers,
Your old schools, your wedding crashers,
wedding
right?
crashers. Yep.
Like that's your
Like those type, like early mid 2000s was they were classics.
but
Anchorman.
yes, for sure. But I mean, I will say this: the people who made those comedies in that era, right? They weren't able to make Caddyshack, or they weren't able to make Animal House, or you know what I mean? Like some of the stuff in those movies is like so much more removed in an inappropriate way than they were able to do in that time. And
Yeah.
again, I think we're always gonna find it like there are always going to be checks and balances. We're always going to obviously grow as a society and a culture. And so, like, if you want universal comedic appeal, obviously it has to appeal on a comedic level to a lot of people. And so I think comedy, we're always going to have to find a way to laugh. Like even
I
people in the
know.
most dire circumstances, like laughter is their like tool, right? You have to find, I mean, in the darkest places in my life, I have still made some of the fucking best jokes, but they were so dark. That's why my wife and I like we share dark comedic humor as one of our things. It's
Us
like
too. Yeah.
I will say the worst joke to you so soon after this terrible event, and
Yeah.
like, and I know that you won't judge me for it. Now I
Right.
feel like there's been like one time where she's been like, "Nope,
That too
not
far.
that, just a little too," but only once. And so like I feel good that in our whole relationship that we've only hit the too far line once, and it was from me, not her, because she's
Yeah.
than I am. So it's
That's great.
uh
That's so funny. That's so
yeah.
funny.
Now, so all that to say, I think we'll always find comedy. God, now I'm trying to think of like newer movies I've watched as
I,
of
ch-
late.
I challenge you to name one good comedy in the last 3 to 5 years.
See, but now I don't want to go on a hunt, but I feel like I have to go on a hunt to be like, yo, this shit was hilarious.
I'm just trying to think. Like, even myself, like, I mean, I love comedy. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
like you. I mean, like, some of my favorite comedians. Like, well, I'll talk about comedians. You can look for your movie. Um, but obviously, I mean, Joe Rogan, Bill Burr, Shane Gillis. I'm going to see him in November. I can't wait. Even Whitney Cummings is hilarious. Chris
Are you,
Rock, good.
are you a Kyle Kinane guy? Do you like Kyle Kinane? Do you know
I've
who I'm
never
talking?
heard of that name before.
Oh my, you need to
I'm
write
writing
down
it down.
Kyle Kinane.
Can you spell
I've
that for
been
me?
listening to his albums for like, I mean, I used to like 10 years ago, he had this Whiskey Icarus was like his first like album that I heard by him. And like I was immediately hooked. I was like, this fucking guy is amazing. He's like an old like punk rock fan, and he talks like this, man, and he's real excited. And I'll tell you the story about how he's just an old guy in Vans. And like it's his comedy is fucking genius. He's hilarious. Sorry. I love me some Kyle Kinane.
Well,
He's very, very
I
funny.
almost like going to see comedy shows more than I like seeing music shows. And I'm a huge music fan. Don't get me wrong.
With
I
the
love
age,
music.
like as it's gone.
Yeah, but like I mean, like I saw Sebastian and Maniscalco, and I mean I just like you laugh for if they're there for an hour, I laugh
Oh
for
yeah.
an hour. Like when I see a show, I mean I mean as a 40-year-old man who I'm not very like how do I say this? I'm not very I don't show a lot of emotion per se. So it's like I'm at a show, it's like, okay, I'm watching this show happen. I
Yeah.
appreciate the music, I appreciate the talent, all that kind of stuff. Like I cry at almost every show. I've cried at a Blue October show, I've cried at Death Cab for Cutie, I've cried at
Mm.
Incubus shows. I cry. Like just
I would cry at a Death Cab for Cutie show. God, I would cry at a Death Cab show. I'm
but
a
like
crier though,
I am
but
too. I'm a very emotional person, but like I mean I love to laugh. I mean like and to be at a comedy show and laugh for an hour straight, like that's fun. Not that a
I'm
show is not fun. Like I mean I
no,
love
no,
music.
no. It's different though, and I
Different.
agree. I got it. Dave Chappelle's like coming to Tampa, and like he's a god to me. I love Chappelle, and like I I wanted to just splurge on the tickets, but they're so expensive, and I
Yeah,
just don't.
yeah.
But we are going to see Taylor Tomlinson. We've got tickets for her, and it got rescheduled from the spring to the fall, and so that's in like less than a month. In a couple weeks, she's coming to Tampa, and she's very, very, very funny. So going to see
Taylor
Taylor
Taylor Tomlinson. Okay. I'll
Tomlinson.
check that
Yeah.
out too.
She's on Netflix for sure.
Okay.
God, yeah. Some I love that comedy is also like it just like music. Like people have these comedians, and there's overlap. Like Bill Burr's hilarious, right? I love Bill Burr, but Pete Holmes is my favorite stand-up comedian. You know Pete Holmes?
Pete Holmes.
He's like we have the same energy, so that's why I love him.
Why
I
am I
learned
not?
about
I'm drawing a
him.
blank. I don't know why.
So he did a
Pete
TV
Holmes.
show called Crashing on HBO for 3 seasons that Judd Apatow actually like produced and did with him about becoming a stand-up.
Okay. I recognize his face. I'm not
He has a
familiar with his comedy.
podcast called You Made It Weird. It's just a very free form, but he'll go like 2.5 hours. Like I listened to him and Keenan talk for 2.5 hours the other day, and I was like, this is beautiful. Like I wanted to hear all these stories. And but his kind of comedy and stand-up is very my wife's talking about this the other day. It's like he's silly and kind of goofy, but in a way that's like and it's not like childish. I mean, it is. Everything's childish if you like look at it from a different perspective, right? But so
Mhm.
some of it's like, you ever think about the fact that like Brad Pitt still has to look at the fucking toilet paper after he wipes his ass? Like he has to make sure it's all gone. He does like that's
Yeah.
probably I don't even know if that's the right actor or but the context of that joke is that like everybody's got to do it. Like
Yeah.
all got to look at the paper and go, oh, I'm done. There's no more down there. Like,
That's the best comedy. Relatable comedies.
it's
Like
like
just
absurd. Like, just like, yeah,
yeah, that's the best. That's the
fun,
best.
fun.
I'm trying to think of I mean, there's Burt Kreischer. Not a fan of Burt Kreischer.
I've watched one Burt Kreischer special. It was like, yeah, that was that was funny for sure. But like, I'm not on the. I'm not necessarily on the raw energy of
Right.
comedy.
And
Super,
his
and he's
laugh.
funny, but I'm not finding myself like seeking that out.
Well, I love listening to him on podcasts. When his podcasts or guests, I like listening to him that way. But like
Huh.
I don't like his laugh. Even Tom Segura, I think he's funny, and but like I'm not like I don't laugh like with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, and again we've got off topic. We've gone away from Matt
We
Lowry.
It's almost like we're enjoying this conversation with each other as
I
two.
love it. Like I told you before, I hope that we stay connected after this. I feel like I've really gained a friend this evening.
Anytime that there's someone who you can share Pennsylvania with, there's always going to be some sort of connection. I
Yeah.
feel like.
I mean, if you have like a personal Facebook page or Instagram page, let's connect.
Yeah.
Let's connect. I do want to stay connected with you
For sure.
after this conversation because I feel like we it's like the Step Brothers movies. Have we just become best friends? Yep.
We did it.
Yep.
We became best friends.
But I don't want to take up your entire night. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
your wife's probably asleep from based on what you said before.
Oh yeah, I'm free. I'm here to do whatever.
Yeah, but you could be doing so many different things better than talking to me, right? It's 10:06 on a Thursday. It is October 12th. This will probably come out in like the last week of October. Just I'm just putting out there frame of reference for anyone listening. This is recorded a little bit in advance, but like let's get back to your stuff real quick. I want to make sure we cover all of that because that's the most important part. That's why we're
I
here
know.
tonight.
It's been a podcast about being a father and like life.
Dude, that's why I love this. I love the fact that we can get off on different topics.
Yeah.
But of course, I want to talk about the important things in your life. And it's being a husband. It's becoming a father in a few months. But talk about it's obviously this day and age, creating a music video for your songs is a lot more realistic than it was 20 years ago.
Oh yeah.
20 years ago, you could, if you were making a CD, you were like, oh, this guy must be big time. He's putting out a CD. Like, okay. But we're talking about doing videos now. I have to check out the one for All My Friends Think I'm Sellout.
All My Friends Are Selling Out. Yeah.
The song, I did listen to the song. I didn't know this video, but the song I feel like belongs in a teen movie. It was like an American Pie or Not Another Teen Movie, things like that.
I love it. Put me in an American Pie movie. And speaking of old movies that aren't getting made anymore,
dude, I'm this close. I'm this close to having an interview with Thomas
Ian Nicholas.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a direct line. I'm in the guy from Don't Panic set me up with him.
Nice.
I've been kind of ghosted the last 2 texts. I'm trying not to be like annoying or things like that he's like my fucking hero to a degree. I grew up with him between Rookie of the Year and the American Pies.
We were Cubs fans, bro. Like my dad grew up a Cubs fan because in Florida they had WGN. So as a kid in like Bradenton, Florida, who loved baseball, he got to watch the Cubs play all the time. So like I grew up a Cubs fan, and we in Pennsylvania used to road trip over to like Chicago and we'd go to Wrigley. So like Rookie of the Year came out and I'm like 8 years old or whatever, right? And it's like Henry Rollingardner. I'm Matthew Hagelberger.
You're right.
Holy
Break my
shit. Arm. I want to be
Holy
this
shit. Garden hoser.
That's the jokes I got in Little League.
Right.
It was just Rookie of the Year jokes all the fucking through the Little League.
Heidensteiner.
It was great. God, yeah, Tommy C. and Nick, that'd be sick, bro.
It would be so good. I mean, like that would be like, I've interviewed some great guests. I've interviewed Art from Everclear. I've interviewed some people.
Hell yeah, bro, that's sick.
Yeah, the Verve Pipe.
Nice.
What's his name? I forget. I'm drawing a blank here. So the lead singer from Cold, Scooter. Well, yeah, Thomas would be like, yeah, that for me, that would be like, oh man. So we'll see. How do we get there? Yeah. But so I think
my friends.
That should be in a teen type of movie. But videos, right? Are these important to you? Why did you do it? And talk about specifically the Coming For You video.
Yeah, for sure. So I think, well, as we talked about earlier, like growing up in the era we did, right? Like music videos were such a huge part of being a kid in the 90s who loved rock and roll.
Yeah.
And early 2000s and stuff like that. And
Fiona Apple.
Oh man. And that's the thing. It's just like, so like for me, the Foo Fighters were always the best example of a band who was like having so much fun in their videos, even when this song was so like straightforward, serious, and rock and roll, right? And I am not a serious person. I have serious conversations and I have serious thoughts, but by my nature, I just kind of have fun and I like to have fun and enjoy it. And I'm goofy, and so are my friends. And so when I had written the song, and before we even like tracked it, even in pre-production, and I could hear how it sounded in my head, I knew I wanted it to be this like celebration of like that Flamingo County thing of like, it's like this backwoods Polk County party, but also like this weird jackass style competition. And so I just had that idea, and I even wrote it. Like, if you look at this, I took a picture of the whiteboard I had put up to like plan the whole album, what I was going to do. And I had 3 videos that I wanted to shoot. And like, one of those, it's Flamingo County Games, is what I wanted to do for Coming For You. Like, I just knew that's what I wanted it to be. Oh, the Flamingo County Games, just these dudes out there doing this weird competition. And so when I went to my buddy Aaron, who sings in Copeland, and he's a good friend of mine. And so he is a wonderful artist. He is a creator. He does a lot of visual stuff for all his work. And so he's a good friend of mine. He's become a very good friend over the last few years. And he did a video for another friend of ours called Jenny D, and had showed me that. And I loved it. And he you know, it was one of those where I was like, hey, would you ever want to have some fun and shoot like a really like easy, good time video? And it's for all my friends are selling out was my idea. I was like, I just want to do it in like a garage. And he already liked that song when we like listened through the album and stuff. And he's like, oh, I've got this great idea. Like, we can use my garage and we'll like do this thing. And so we kind of planned that out. And at the night that we were planning out that video, I started talking to him about like, hey, if you're going to do this one, like, I would love you to do this other video Coming For You that I like really have in mind, and kind of threw the ideas out. And so we're just listening to vinyl records and sipping on wine and talking about video ideas. And it was like, I was like, I want that goofy, fun, like 90s rock and roll video where it's like the song's rock and roll, but like everything in the video is just super, just having a good time. Like, I want people to, like you said, you're like, seem like I was chilling, wants to have a good time. And it's like, that's authentically me. Like, I would get together with my friends and do some dumb shit like that, because why not? So, so like those videos were both shot in like 4 hours tops. Like, video 1, we showed up at like 7:30, 8 a.m. We set up all the gear in the garage. We shot all the stuff. We moved stuff around. We got the different shots. We were out of there by 12:30, 12:30.
That's awesome.
And then same for Coming For You. Very lucky my father-in-law has this like piece of land. And when I was out there, I was like, this would be perfect for a music video. Like, I was like, this is the Flamingo County Games. They'll totally let me use this big like field that we use. So sure enough, he was super supportive. And like, I went to Lowe's. I bought that big old plastic strip for the slip and slide, which we have since used again at like a Labor Day thing we did in my backyard. So, yeah, we just came up with fun games. I had those old guitars that we like threw as like the like javelin type thing.
Yeah.
I had literally been sitting on those for like 5 or 6 years easily. Wow. And it was like, I'm going to use these one day for something. Like, I have this weird, like, I know that one day I can use this cool old guitar, even if I just have to destroy it in a video. And like, that day came, and sure enough, that guitar broke as soon as I threw it. We had we had 2 out there, and the one I threw on the first take literally landed and just broke. And I was like, well, we got the take out of it. That's all we needed it for. So it was fun. So we all went out there. We had a case of Busch Light in the cooler, and we were all just, it was like, I cracked a beer at like 7:30 in the morning, and I was like, well, I hope my father-in-law doesn't think less of me.
It's for the art,
For the art. No, he got it. Nothing but love out there, man. It was fun. And then we had a good time. The saddest part is that so we have like we all changed clothes and then shot like a crowd scene of people cheering. And it was like, most of us are in it, but me and Josh, who plays guitar, we both brought dresses, and I let my hair down, and it was like, oh, we're gonna be the girls in the crowd that are like stoked. And so he like put all this makeup on, and we had dresses, and like we're jumping and cheering, and like none of that made the video. So I got all prettied up in a dress and was jumping around
For
for no
nothing.
good reason. But it was very freeing and it was super hot after shooting all that stuff. So I kind of wore the dress for a while and I loved it. And I could understand why like Kurt Cobain wore a dress on stage. Boy, I might have to bring it back one day. This is my comfortable dress for my rock
Yeah.
and roll show.
No, it was cool. A lot of track and field type of games, soccer, volleyball, and that slip and slide. I mean, that hit home for me. I was just on a summer family vacation back in July, I want to say. So we had so it's like my son, because my daughter was still not even 1 year old yet, or maybe she was one, whatever. Um, but my son, my brother's daughter, my other brother's the girl he's seeing has two kids, and we did a giant slip and slide, big black tarp, and the
Yeah.
kids. It was the first. The kids loved it. Soap, water.
Yep.
It was old school. My cousin, who's like early 30s, decided he was going to do it. He woke up the next day realizing he's in his 30s. So yeah, all that I just connected with a lot. Just it was a lot of fun to watch. You guys all seemed like you were having a great time too. And again, back to what I was saying before, I I was part of a music video, and I respect the whole process a lot. Like you're saying, it was only 4 hours, which is phenomenal. I mean, my day was 12. The band's
Oh,
day was far like longer than that.
I've done those videos like back with like other bands where it's
Yeah,
like you show up and it's a full shoot and they're doing it and it's like it is everything and yeah and but I think we were like very lucky that like we did it so DIY that we were able to get it done in 4.5 5 hours. But it was still like, all right, we're gonna do this 20 freaking times and you're gonna do this over. Like I belly flopped on that freaking water slide multiple times. And you want to talk about waking up wake
yeah,
up the next day, man, my legs, my gut, like Josh,
yeah,
when he hurdles the freaking sawhorse and
yeah,
like
yeah,
busts
yeah.
it out.
Falls, yeah.
Dude, that's legit. Like his knee when he hit it on the he's like it hurt for weeks.
I
Like
could
he was
tell. I could
bruised
tell
up.
you guys laughed. I could tell like that was like not the plan, and you guys were just like it was like a genuine laugh, like oh my god, I can't believe that happened.
I was so glad. It's funny because I saw it in the video and I'm like, you know what? I love that it's in there because we really did not think because we had all a couple of us had done the hurdles, right? So it was like, okay, you did one and you did one and we made it and it was great. And like he went for it and just beefed it hard and it was even funnier to see from our angle because you kind of he disappears and then comes back
Yeah,
up, right? And we just see him like eat it.
it was perfect. It was
And
perfect.
pop up. Micah did
Yeah,
a flip over one and landed on his back. And that I want the B-roll. I keep telling Aaron, I was like, I'm going over this weekend. I need to get it. I've been bringing a hard drive. It's like, I need the footage, man. I need all the extra damage.
yeah, that's so good. That's so good. It just again, it look the music's good. You guys are just having a good time. The videos are cool. I mean, you're nailing it. You have this whole like Flamingo County and the portrayal of this vibe and this scene, and it's everything has I think has just come together exactly how you had planned.
Well, thank you. That means it literally means the world to hear that, man.
Yeah.
It means a
So
lot. Uh,
I mean,
it's
I think we
fun to know that it's actually been taken that way and that
yeah,
dude, I get people like send me flamingo shit all the time now, or like pictures of things that are happening, and I'm like, all right, so everybody like gets it now. Like, it's gonna be weird to like shift, like whatever the next thing is. It's like I've been in this Flamingo County mindset for 3 years now,
yeah,
so it's and even longer with the writing, like 5 years since some of these songs, first got written or started getting written. So it's been an interesting journey, and I really I love hearing that it's been received and understood for what it is, which is just
yeah.
like setting a mood. You know what I mean? It's just like embracing that thing.
That's
So,
great.
oh,
I think we talked about it already. But really, really quick, talk about what you have lined up for the rest of the year. Obviously, the beginning of next year is going to be, sporadic maybe because your wife is due around February, late February.
yeah.
So, talk about what's next for the band, and then where people can find you.
Yeah. So like I said, we are maybe working on a couple more, like some Florida shows here coming up over the next, end of the year. The pregnancy thing kind of got thrown in with all the planning when it was all going down for shows and runs and things like that. So less shows are booked for the fall than maybe would have been. We're going to do some stuff in January. We're going to play a festival here in Lakeland. That's like a one-day festival that we do. We're going to play up in Orlando with some friends, band that I used to play with a couple years back. They're kind of getting back together and playing at a good venue up in there. And so those will get announced. There's some other Florida stuff in the works, but yeah. Then, a couple months off, February, March, April, probably. But the plan is to be doing a nice little run in the summertime next year. We've got some other bands in Florida, and we plan to make some runs in the Southeast kind of thing. And then, like I said, I'll be doing a lot of writing over the next 6 months. But in the meantime, listen to Flamingo County. You can stream it everywhere that you want to stream it. I started a label to release this album and
Oh wow.
do the press and do that thing. So Bro City Records is the name of my label that I have with Micah, my drummer. And we are going to be working on pressing the album to vinyl here, kind of getting that in the works, and then launching the merch store and everything like that, hopefully early next year. And then we'll be able to have vinyl and merch and stuff that'll be on sale. Because I've been selling merch at shows, but I haven't set up the web store and done all the good stuff yet. So we'll be kind of shifting things into that gear as we keep kind of writing. And the hope is to release. We're enjoying every moment of Flamingo County while it's out. We want to share it with everybody, but we just want to keep writing and keep releasing music every year and just like enjoying every moment that we can in spurts. And I think embracing this band that we have like found is. We've all been such good friends for such a long time to actually all be in the same musical group together playing, and like as a team, it feels so good. And it's just like, I feel like the sky is the limit for what we can do musically. And I'm very excited to follow that. So follow me on Instagram at like Matthew Lowry 711 is like my handle. And it's the easiest way to get all the updates. I think we're going to launch the Matthew Lowry and the FCP Instagram and social media stuff here soon, so that it won't, because we want to embrace the band thing. Like I said, like that's what we are now. And so I'll still have my own personal thing that will update everything in the world, but it'll be a lot easier to be a dad, I think, if I can separate my
for sure
personal lifetime and then like, this is a band account and this is what we're going to do. So we'll be launching that soon too. But like I said, mine's Matthew Lowry 711. Matthew Lowry is on Facebook. I have a YouTube channel with the videos. I even made a TikTok, so we'll see if I start using that more.
It's so tough. It's so tough to TikTok.
It's tough to talk. It's tough to talk so much. I like writing the music and playing it. But you know what? I think we'll just become like a sketch band that does like comedy sketches, right? We'll just make little mini music videos.
Yeah.
Little comedy sketches. There you go. Then it'll be fun. It makes sense. Actually, that's a great idea.
Or just take the videos that you have already and then cut them up into little clips and
snippies. I've done some of that. We're dabbling.
Good.
So
Good.
But yeah, and then like I said, if you follow me, we'll definitely be announcing shows and all that live. And I'll be keeping up with you more. This is great, man.
If you don't have a merch guy, let me know.
Ooh.
I specialize in merch.
We'll run I have I do have my boy.
That's fine. No. That's I'm just saying if you didn't have somebody and you needed somebody.
Shout out Dylan Designs. Shout out Dylan Matat, my boy, making his designs. He's worked with us on like logo and stuff like that. And the little flamingo guy. I'll have to show you. I'll shoot some stuff your way. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Good. That's awesome. I mean, the whole like one thing that's cool about the screen printing and design world is just like how many creative people there are, and like you can really like learn from each other and just kind of like get better based on seeing other things. And it's a cool, like it's not very like competitive. So that's what I'm saying. Like I just if you needed somebody.
Oh yeah. No. It's I think as you said, what's dope. He's a designer, but he also has his own screen printing stuff that he does. Sweet. So like
that's awesome.
He works with a lot of businesses in St. Pete and Tampa, and like also works with other bands because he plays music in a different group. And so
the shipping, there's no shipping. which is awesome.
Yeah, no, we pick it up. So I mean, you're supporting. I mean, I'm working hard to spend my money on my music stuff. So
Yeah.
like, I'd rather support somebody that is my friend who's doing this as
100%.
business, right? And so that's fun. And I think that's what's, like you said, with the lack of competition, it's not like he's not out there beating down doors trying to take other people's business. He's just
Right.
providing his service, and as word spreads,
Yep.
you hope more people can come to that. So.
Here it is. Do you like it? Okay, great. Let's do it.
And that's it. He just had this style. I was like, oh, you can do this kind of cool, unique flamingo look that I want you to do. And it was like, just nailed it, man. Just nailed it.
I'm trying to picture this, like this cover art of the vinyl, like this huge, like,
So you've seen the cover of the album?
yeah, but it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Like on a vinyl image, like
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what you want. The Last Supper. It's amazing.
And I'm assuming that you're gonna go pink vinyl, right?
I would like to. That's the plan. I wanted to. Well, I wanted to look into one of those. Like you can press the vinyl and have something in the middle.
Yeah.
And so if it was like clear and then there was like sand with a little flamingo in there that was like felt or something.
Yeah.
But I know that shit's expensive, and we're probably not going to be able to do not be able to do that. But that's like the dream. But other than that, yeah, it should be probably pink or like seafoam green and pink, probably. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Dope.
That's
awesome.
Oh, you got it right.
Well, I'll have to order one. You'll have to ship it up to me.
I will announce everywhere. I'll make sure you know when the vinyl is.
Can't wait. I don't buy. I have not gotten into the vinyl game. I just I won't even get into the whole thing. It's just my CD collection. I stopped buying CDs probably 4 years ago just because financially irresponsible, children, all that kind of shit. I'm like, there's no way I can get in the vinyl game. I don't want to have this big, bigger item now. But I do have a couple vinyl pieces from my favorite artists and people that I've interviewed too. So I would do that to help support the cause, and I think that would be a cool piece to have. So
that's very dope of you. I we will full circle it. I remember getting my dad had some vinyl growing up for sure, right? There's some records, but like in high school, I went to this like thrift store and looked through the vinyl box because I knew we had the player in the basement, and there was a copy of Phil Collins' Face Value, and I was like, well, I'm going to bring, or I'm sorry, No Strings Attached is the first Phil Collins, or No Jacket Required. I said the wrong name. No Strings Attached is an NSYNC album from the mid 2000s.
I was going to say, like, No Strings Attached sounds weird.
No Jacket Required. So I bought it for like $2 out of this vinyl bin, and I knew Dad, we love Genesis. I knew who he was, but like, I didn't know this. So I took this vinyl and I put it on a record player and I listened to it at home, and I was like, this is everything. This is amazing. That was my first I purchased a vinyl. It was just like a record shop pickup. It wasn't like cooler, hipper, trendy or anything like that for me. It was like, oh yeah, this is great music that like I can own on a record. But luckily for me, vinyl has become a thing. So I have been, I don't have an insane collection, but I have a very me collection where it's fine. I love this album enough that one day I want my kids to see these physical representations of this music I love. Yeah. And even if they have to go find it and stream it somewhere, however they'll do it, like, hopefully we'll just listen to records together, right? But like when I'm old and gray, they're like, oh, this was Dad's record collection. This is Grandpa's record collection.
Right. Yeah, by that time when it comes back around again.
It's all the way back around. So.
Well, Matt Lowry, it's been a pleasure.
Been a very much my pleasure as well.
It was I've had a lot of fun tonight. This is probably the most fun I've had in the last few weeks as far as doing interviews, and not that the past ones have been not fun, but this has been a very enjoyable. I'm happy for you with your music career, your soon to be baby, and your marriage and all that stuff. It just I'm happy when people are happy and great things are happening in your life, and it's just it's a wonderful thing, and I know you are cognizant of how great your life is, and you don't take it for granted, and that's always just a great thing to see. So best of luck to you with everything.
Thank you.
Please, let's connect outside of this. I
melted my heart with all those kind words.
No, dude, it's serious. That's from my heart. Like I said, I'm a very emotional person. Like it's just I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I genuinely care, and I'm very happy for you and everything that's going on in your life. So thank you again for taking the time. I kept you for a little longer than I wanted to, um,
I love it.
but I hope you enjoyed it, and I will definitely keep in touch.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Yep, you too.
All right,
Bye.
we'll see you.